All right, let's talk about the book of Nehemiah. And this book is very practical. If Ezra was about rebuilding faith and identity, Nehemiah is about rebuilding real life. Walls, systems, leadership, discipline. This book answers a very modern question. What do you do when you know what's wrong? You care deeply, but you're not in power to fix it. Nehemiah doesn't start in Jerusalem, it starts far away. Nehemiah is living in Persia, serving as a cupbearer to the king. That's an important detail. He's not a priest, he's not a prophet, he's not a builder, he's a government employee, trusted, comfortable, safe. Then he hears news from Jerusalem. The city is still broken. The walls are down. The people are vulnerable, and that news hits him hard. Nehemiah doesn't react instantly. He doesn't rush. The book records that he weeps, fasts, and prays for days. That matters because Nehemiah teaches that real leadership starts with burden, not ambition. Nehemiah prays honestly. He doesn't blame others. He admits collective failure. He remembers God's promises. This prayer sets the tone for the whole book. Nothing moves without prayer first. Then something important happens. Nehemiah speaks to the king. That's risky. But the king notices Nehemiah's sadness and asks why. Nehemiah explains the situation, and surprisingly, the king agrees to help. He gives Nehemiah permission, resources, and authority to rebuild. Here's the first lesson of Nehemiah: preparation meets opportunity. Nehemiah had been praying before the door opened. Nehemiah arrives in Jerusalem, and the first thing he does is nothing public. He doesn't announce plans. He doesn't call meetings. He inspects the walls quietly at night. That detail is written clearly in the book. Nehemiah understands something deep. You don't announce vision until you understand reality. After inspecting the damage, Nehemiah gathers the people. He explains the problem. He explains the opportunity. And the people respond. They say, let's rebuild. This is a turning point. Leadership doesn't build walls. People do. Construction begins, and immediately opposition shows up. Mockery, threats, ridicule. Sanballat and Tobiah laugh at the project. They say the wall is weak. They say it will collapse. This is not subtle. The book records verbal attacks. Nehemiah doesn't stop the work. He prays and keeps building. This is a key Nehemiah pattern. Prayer and action together, not prayer instead of action, not action without prayer, both. As opposition increases, threats become real. Enemies plan attacks. So Nehemiah adjusts strategy. Some people build, others stand guard. Tools in one hand, weapons in the other. That image is straight from the book, and it's powerful. Here's the philosophy inside that moment. Rebuilding always requires protection, especially when progress threatens comfortable dysfunction. But external enemies are not the biggest problem. Internal problems rise next. Rich people start exploiting poor workers, charging interest, taking land, using power unfairly. Nehemiah gets angry. And the book records that anger. Nehemiah confronts leaders publicly. He calls out injustice, and he leads by example. He refuses extra benefits. He doesn't abuse authority. This is leadership with integrity. The wall gets rebuilt in just 52 days. That detail is written clearly. Enemies are shocked. Momentum wins, but Nehemiah knows something important. Walls don't protect values. People do. So the book shifts. Ezra returns to read the law publicly. The people listen. They weep. They realize how far they drifted. This moment connects Nehemiah back to Ezra. Physical rebuilding meets spiritual renewal. The people confess. They commit to change. They make agreements about worship, about justice, about priorities. Nehemiah doesn't force emotion. He channels it into structure. The rest of the book shows Nehemiah organizing the city, assigning roles, protecting Sabbath, correcting compromise. And here's something important. Nehemiah leaves and comes back. And when he returns, problems return too. People slip back. Old habits resurface. This is one of the most honest parts of the Bible. Reform doesn't permanently fix human nature. Maintenance is required. Nehemiah confronts issues again, mixed priorities, broken commitments, neglected responsibilities. And he doesn't apologize for correcting them, because leadership without follow-up fails. The book ends without a grand celebration. No fireworks, no perfect ending, just Nehemiah praying, remember me, oh my God, that's it. That ending matters because Nehemiah is not about applause. It's about faithfulness. Here's what Nehemiah teaches clearly. Caring is not enough. Prayer is not enough. Vision is not enough. Execution matters. Discipline matters. Consistency matters. For a modern example, you see this in teams, companies, families. Everyone agrees something is broken. Everyone talks about fixing it. But few people do the hard, unglamorous work. Nehemiah does. If Ezra taught, fix the inside, Nehemiah teaches, now protect it. Nehemiah is a leadership manual disguised as history. It shows how to lead under pressure, how to handle criticism, how to balance prayer and action, how to rebuild without burning out. And most importantly, it shows this. Rebuilding is not a moment, it's a process. That's the book of Nehemiah, practical, demanding, grounded, and incredibly relevant.